That's right, the free ride is over. You have milked the Tao cow for long enough and now that milk is going sour. Another good thing about this change is that it's really going to help BitTensor grow beyond 128 subnets. Now, can this new protocol be gamed? Maybe. How's it going, everyone? Cameron here with a big news update from the Tao ecosystem this week on how subnets are getting paid via blockchain emissions. That's right, if you're a subnet owner and your subnet has been producing sweet FA over recent months, you are in danger of having your emissions cut to zero. That's right, the free ride is over. You have milked the Tao cow for long enough and now that milk is going sour. I'm going to unpack exactly what the change is, what it means for good performing subnets, what it means for bad performing subnets, and what it means generally overall, the good and the bad points. And then I'm going to sum up what it means for you, the investor. Let's start off with the problem. But before I do this, let me just squeeze in a quick disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor and this is purely for educational purposes. So if you are going to invest in BitTensor or any of the subnets, please consult a qualified financial advisor and of course do your own research. Seamless. BitTensor is an ecosystem made up of 128 subnets. Now these 128 subnets are competing on a free market. They're fighting over a daily emission. You can think of emission as like cash flow coming from the BitTensor ecosystem. And there's 7,200 Tao emitted every day. So the way that this Tao gets distributed is dependent on one thing, the price of the subnet. Well, this is how it's been done historically, because each subnet has its own alpha token. So the bigger the value or the price of your alpha token, the more of this 7,200 Tao you received. There's at least a couple of things that influence the price of an alpha token. And one of these is called flow, which is simply just a measure of inflows and outflows from an alpha token's liquidity pool. The second thing that was influencing the price is the size of the liquidity pool. And this is where the problem was. Some subnets had built up massive liquidity pools very early on. And even though they were quite dormant, they were no longer producing any work of any real value to the BitTensor ecosystem, that massive liquidity pool was keeping their price artificially high, even though there was outflows from their pool. So you could think of it as like a massive swimming pool of water. If you just take a bucket of water out of that pool every day, it doesn't really change a great deal. Whereas on the flip side, some of the newer subnets were finding it hard to build up that massive liquidity pool to get their justified share of admissions from the BitTensor ecosystem. So a change was needed to kick off the free riders and better reward those subnets that were providing actual utility, attracting new users and capital. Going forward, Tao emissions to subnets will no longer be based on both flow and the size of a subnet's liquidity pool. It'll just be based on flow alone. And the new protocol is called Net Tao Flow. What is Net Tao Flow? It's basically a measure of the confidence the community has in a particular subnet. I mean, think about it. If you really believe in a subnet, if you see the potential of it, you're going to stake your Tao into that subnet. If you don't believe in it, you're going to unstake. And Tao flow is simply one minus the other. It's the inflows minus the outflows. And the more inflows, or the greater the size of the inflows, the more emissions that it's going to get rewarded with. Now, if outflows are bigger than inflows, you don't get negative emissions, you just get zero. So what does all this mean for subnets? Basically, it's going to reward subnets that are growing now. Historical subnets that did well in the past, well, that's now in the past. You can't just build up a massive liquidity pool and then rest on your laurels. You have to be providing utility now. And those subnets that are doing that are growing quickly, that are bringing in new Tao, new investment, are going to be rewarded faster. And those subnets that are not doing anything, well, they're just going to lose their rewards a lot quicker. Another good thing about this change is that it's really going to help BitTensor grow beyond 128 subnets. And that's because there's a halving just around the corner. On the old system, where liquidity pool had a big impact on price and admissions received, it would have taken a long time for new subnets that are joining to build up the similar sized liquidity pools as the ones that had got the head start before the halving. Basically, the 7,200 admissions every day is going to get cut in half, and so you can see that it's going to take twice as long for a new subnet to match those liquidity pools. And that's a headwind that nobody really wants. Now, you might wonder if this is going to make admissions really volatile, calculating on a daily basis net inflows and outflows. And the answer to that is admissions will be smooth because they're going to use an exponential moving average with a half-life of 30 days. I can certainly see lots of benefits from this new protocol, and I understand why they've done it. Does it have any downsides? Potentially, it might mean that there's more of a near-term focus for subnets, and that sometimes when you're focusing on those near-term releases and news and updates can come at the expense of a longer-term goal, and that may be hard for a particular subnet if they've got a long project build. Now, can this new protocol be gamed? Maybe. What's to stop a subnet with a massive liquidity pool pulling out all their liquidity on a single day? Now, this massive negative outflow will, of course, produce not negative emissions, but just zero, because the way the protocol works is that if it's negative or massively negative, you just get zero emissions on that day. You then wait for 30 days or 60 days until the exponential moving average begins to not price that negative outflow in, and then you just add it in again, getting you admissions. Then you just wait until your admissions run out, and then you pull it all out on a single day, get negative, wait 30 days, 60 days, add it back in, get some admissions, rinse and repeat. What's to stop someone from doing that? I'm not sure. Hopefully the team at BitTensor have thought about this and have a solution for it, or maybe it's a solution that's already there and I've just missed it. But it's just something off the top of my head that occurred to me. Finally, what does this change mean for you as an investor into the BitTensor ecosystem? Well, if it goes as it should, it means that the cream will rise to the top even faster. So this can only be a good thing if you're bullish on the Tao ecosystem. It just means the subnets that you are backing, and if they're any good, they'll just get more rewards faster, which can only be a good thing. The cream was already rising to the top, but it just means now that the dead wood floating on top of the cream will no longer be there. I love a good cow-based analogy. It's now more important than ever to back the subnets that you really believe in. If you believe in its vision, its long-term potential, stake to that subnet, because that's really going to help it with admission flow into that subnet. Okay, that's it from me. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. It just helps other people like yourself find my content. Till next time.